Instead of bespoke one-off custom software for all the reasons you mentioned, doing one thing that's repeatable over and over again for one specific type of customer.
Exactly.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, how are you? How you doing?
Good, good.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, pleasure. Feel like I've seen you from, or know you from Twitter and all that.
Yeah, I don't post as much there anymore. I've been focusing more so on Instagram, YouTube, trying to pivot to LinkedIn as well. I feel like Twitter's more kind of like a brand equity thing rather than doing great for like bringing clients in or anything like that. So
Yeah,
shifted
no
focus to
kidding.
some other platforms, but
Yep, yeah. It's where the bros hang out, but real business is on LinkedIn and Facebook and all that.
exactly, exactly. It's so good to finally meet you. Danny's told me a lot about you.
Yeah, what has he said?
All good things, all good things. He tells me about your trips all the time. I took a look at the Google Drive folder that you sent over as well, or like the Google photo album. That was really cool. That's pretty much most of what he's told me when we talked about it, but he's very fond of you. So
Oh, cool. Awesome. He's a good guy.
yes, yeah, absolutely. But I don't know if there's anything specific you wanted to accomplish on this call, or if we just kind of wanted to meet face to face. I don't want to waste too much of your time. I'd be happy to kind of give you a rundown of what I do as well, if you'd like.
I've taken a look at what you have there, but Danny said we should talk, so I'm here. So
Absolutely.
what are we doing?
Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to, I guess, learn a little bit more about what you do, because Danny was saying that I should be looking into, a little bit of like local marketing, so targeting businesses that are a little more, within my area. So I started off kind of doing like an IT agency type of thing. So we would do
Okay.
custom automations for businesses. We develop AI models. The very highest end, it was a little bit of low code software development.
Okay.
So a lot of internal tools for teams, not really anything like out facing, but internal. Eventually, I burnt out super hard doing that because every single project for clients was completely custom and development
Mm,
work takes a lot of time. Plus, a lot of the online money guys like to put on a front of, having more capital to work with than
yep.
they actually do. And, it's just a lot of scope creep, a lot of projects going way past the original scope of work.
Yep.
But
Normal.
Danny was just saying that I should be looking into potentially reaching out to local businesses. And now we're focused purely on marketing initiatives. So like a little bit of personal branding, anything where I can use my expertise in content creation and then also
Yep.
the development side to help companies produce more content and kind
Yep.
of expand that reach just without investing more time, if that makes sense.
Right. Right. So instead of bespoke one-off custom software for all the reasons you mentioned, doing one thing that's repeatable over and over again for one specific type of customer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. What
So,
niche is that?
so typically that's agencies. I've looked back at all the clients I've worked with in the past year, and they are typically agencies and info product sellers, but a lot of them are warm inbounds from people I already know or
Uh-huh.
referrals.
Uh-huh.
So it works well for info, but agencies I've noticed are kind of the higher tier, longer term clients that I'm typically looking for, like higher quality, if that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah, because the influencers, they don't usually have a business model or a product or a team or revenue, but agencies do, and they have clear pain and they can pay for it because there's money coming in and they're not doing a good job and they know it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's the connection. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I just saw a text saying you should talk to my good buddy Sean. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever you think.
Yeah, I mean, if
Mhm.
even if it's just like I always like to just establish connections anyways. So
Yeah.
even if nothing super crazy comes out of it or anything like that, I always like to meet face to face. Like I said,
Yeah.
he said a lot about you, and I've seen you on Twitter before as well. So I'm always happy to
Yeah.
kind of make the
Yeah.
connection as well.
Well, I'm just gonna guess because he didn't say specifically, but based on because you guys a couple of years ago you were doing some creator SaaS kind of thing, right?
Yeah, we did like it was called Pegasus, and it
That's
was
right. Yeah, I remember he
yeah,
was working on that and doing agency stuff and building websites, and he's like doing five different things. And I said,
yeah, narrowed down.
no, no, until you get each business to at least a mil a year, ideally 10 mil a year, don't do another business.
We
So
agree with
then,
that.
because of that and other things, and then I brought him to a conference where I was the MC. He may have told you he
Yeah,
was on for AI, and I was the MC the next year too. So
that's exciting.
I've
Where was
been
that at?
Chicago actually.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
perfect. That's where I'm at right now. So that's
yeah.
cool.
You're
Not in golf specifically. I don't know if you know the Naperville area.
okay. Yeah.
I'm like around there. I'm in Aurora now, but I grew up in Naperville.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
small world.
Yeah. It's local in many aspects. So he from that conference and our coaching and from meeting a lot of other folks, like I flew him out to Miami for seven figure. He probably told you about that. That's a group
Yeah,
of thousands of agencies that have all chosen the one thing, like, they a lot of them have come from the variety agency or kind of where you were, like trying to do a little bit of everything for everybody. And there's a reason why you can't do that anymore, right? Because AI tools, low code, like you said, makes it so much easier. Like, what advantage do you have, right?
yeah,
But
absolutely.
in among these agencies, I have a lot of agencies that follow me. I don't think that, I mean, you name anybody that teaches agencies, I probably have taught in their group.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
for whatever reasons, agencies follow me because I've demonstrated multiple times how to build a seven-figure agency and also how do you get the big clients? How do you get a Nike to pay you $1 million? And I teach how to do that, not as an info product, but literally just like, here it is, you know?
Yeah, it's important. I initially had some business partners a few years ago, actually, not a few years ago. This was a year ago now that I split from them. And initially
Mhm.
we partnered up. We worked with a couple different info product sellers that were doing substantial revenue, mainly through
Right.
Instagram as their main like acquisition channel. And
Unsustainable.
very unsustainable. And with these partners as well, we eventually started working with actual businesses. So like we worked with an e-commerce company that was doing $500,000 a month in revenue, like
Yeah.
doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And eventually my business partners though, they wanted to start doing info and they started moving
Uh-huh.
into one-on-one coaching and started
Oh
selling
no.
the business model, like make your first 10K a month with AI
Oh no, no,
agency.
no, no. You
And I
no, then you
split.
become
I
one of
split.
them, one of the money
Yeah,
bros. Now you're flexing and fake Lamborghini bullshit.
I split. I was like,
Don't do that. Because then all of them claim how much money they're making, and it's just an incestuous kind of nonsense pool of garbage.
all just a circle jerk. It's
A bunch of
for
23
like
year olds, telling each other how successful they are, and none of them are actual business people.
yeah, absolutely.
I spend time with actual business people.
That's what I respect about it. That's something I realized like this past year. When I first got into entrepreneurship, I was like, cars, watches, whatever. And then
Got it. Got it.
I took a big look at myself like the past year or so, and I was like, I don't even wear watches. Like I hardly ever have a watch on my wrist. All my watches sit in my drawer. I'm like, I don't know why I would want a Rolex or like anything like that. And
Yeah.
I have a buddy that does solar, but not like solar
Uh-huh.
sales. He runs a solar drone company and they
Okay.
do, I think 13, 14 million a year in terms of
Okay.
annual revenue.
All right.
And yeah, he's just someone I look up to big time just because he's running an actual business and like providing
Uh-huh.
actual value to companies. So that's kind of
Yeah.
the direction I want to move in.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Your buddy who does 13, 14 million, not as a solar sales guy. A few days ago, I interviewed a hedge fund guy, just 3 billion a year,
It's insane.
and he's not easily found on the internet.
Yeah.
And yesterday, one of the agencies I coached, Jack Went, not like this is a pattern, but he just got a new client who's a PE firm and they own 7 companies. And each of those companies is not very well optimized because they're regular, just real world companies, not influencer bros wearing watches. Like they're real companies with real revenue doing things that could be done better. But it's run by old people, not young bros.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And what I notice, I'll share my screen,
Sure.
is that like I'll just show you. So I have Google Photos, as you know,
Yeah.
which automatically pulls everything off of my phone, right?
Absolutely.
So just, helping people get knowledge panels or things. I interviewed this guy a couple days ago, right, in his kitchen, the new house he moved into,
Beautiful.
trampoline park a few days ago, right?
Yeah.
Helping people get knowledge panels. This is just like day by day. You can see what's going on, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I interviewed the CEO of this thing at CES. This is in partnership with Honda and all these Google and these other guys.
That's
So
exciting.
anyway, like I was at CES. I interview people at CES because I'm media. So, and then if we go all the way back, maybe another month or so, you can see like me and Danny going all across,
Yeah, there he is. That's
there,
cool.
all these places. Like he's this like Nordic giant among these
I know.
munchkins, right? Isn't it crazy? Like this is Vietnam, I think. This is like, I'm just capturing kind of these authentic moments, right? We're
Yeah.
about to go on this hike. We're having a little breakfast thing going on. Just here's what they're serving. We're hanging with an actual family. Did he tell you about the whole cave thing?
Yeah, I feel like I vaguely remember him mentioning something about a cave, but I don't remember specifically what he said.
We went on the world's largest caves. Like when you think
Wow.
of a cave, you think of like, oh, it's just like this hole or whatever. But this thing goes These things go on for miles. And literally we had to
Wow.
swim through these caves, climb up and down these things.
Oh
There's
my
all this stuff that's happening.
gosh.
Some of these things are just so crazy narrow that you just like barely fit through these things, okay? And here's I'm just like look like trying to, if you're an
That
average
is
American,
crazy.
you
Oh
might
my
not be able to
goodness.
make it through, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, wow. That is insane. Oh my gosh.
Let's see if I can find some of these other ones. Oh yeah, there's like big ass spiders and bats and things I've never seen before.
Yeah, that's fucking
Yeah,
scary.
yeah, like
Oh my
look at what like if you can't crawl through this thing, you can't go to the other side, and then it goes on for another like half mile. Like look at this. You have to make it through this thing. Would
Oh
you
my
not get
gosh.
like
Wow.
if
That's
you're
awesome.
an average size American, you're gonna have problems, okay?
Hard time. Yeah. My
So
good.
I'm doing this not to boast
Yeah, of course.
or just to waste time, but to show you like when I spend time with people and then we turn those into reels and articles and like, whatever, then this builds my brand. And then because I spend time with these people, we do business together, which is great. So I've
Absolutely.
interviewed all sorts of people. And
That's
if you
amazing.
come, you can see like I've been in the media and you could look me up and see all this stuff, right?
Yeah, I saw something with Jake Paul or something like that
Yeah, I
as
got all this
well.
stuff with Jake Paul. I have 100, 300 videos with Jake Paul and all these sorts of people, right? So I don't need to say that I'm well known. I don't need to name drop. You can just Google see, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All that stuff, all the things about credibility, all these people from big companies saying, yep, Dennis is awesome. They're all saying Dennis is, and then you can click on it to watch the videos. It's not a fake testimonial. It's an actual like podcast. And we're actually, in detail, right? Not just like, oh, Dennis is really great. My revenue went up. Like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, like the broad testimonials. Like, yeah, we really enjoyed working with him. I recommend it.
But this is actually going deep. This is stuff like, I've got all these tabs open and there's, where is
That's
it?
amazing.
Like, not that one, but oh yeah, like I brought a friend to Nike's headquarters. He's a professional dunker and
Wow.
they shut down the Bo Jackson gym, which is the iconic gym where Michael
Oh my
Jordan and
gosh.
all the Nike commercials were filmed. And, we have this whole thing going on here and this, like, it's a whole experience, right?
Yeah.
This is not just like, oh, I was able to grow because I followed Dennis's principles. Now sign up for our high ticket thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's
And
like real
I put it
value.
out there. So how this maybe relates to what you've done, I'm going to guess based on what you told me and what Danny said. So all these clients of ours across the different agencies, I coach a bunch of young adults that own different agencies and they follow our model, which is do it right and put it out there publicly so everyone can see and it drives inbound. Okay. It's not the cold call and try to convince people to sign up kind of nonsense. Everything we have is they come to us, but we have enough
Absolutely.
reputation. We have the leaders in each of these local areas. As Danny knows, we have the top guys in pest control, the top guys in real estate and Cairo and roofing and electricity. And like we have, you Google that person, I've been on their podcast, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So because we have all this raw proof of not of Lamborghinis, but like we could say like the number one guy in garage door is Tommy Mello, right? And if you're in garage door, you know who this guy is. I've spoken at his
Wow.
conferences. We've hung out and done push-ups at his house and drank beer and
That's
been
fun.
around and done lots of stuff. This is not just like I met him at a conference one time and took a picture, right? I've been on his
Yeah.
podcast multiple times. I mean, there's all this stuff going on, right? So
Absolutely.
because of this relationship that is like me hanging out with him and then like all these people that are friends of his, then they know who I am, right? And all
Yeah.
these garage door people want to be like him because he started from nothing, then now is doing 300 million a year.
That's
He has his
insane.
own conference helping
Gosh.
other home service businesses and all this, right? He's got this whole factory or the training center. It's like its own campus. All these people fly in, they want to see it. How does he train all these people? He, did private equity and now he's buying up other garage door companies and just being a big boss, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
This guy does $1 billion a month. He's the largest single location home service business owner. He's in Phoenix, right? HVAC,
Wow.
right? So
HVAC. Yeah.
because of the association I have with him and because it's documented here, and you could Google it, you could look at it on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, like there's a clear, obvious relationship with me and Tommy Mello.
Yeah.
I'm saying
Absolutely.
good things. He's saying good things. We're just hanging out, hitting golf balls. We're not even talking about business necessarily, right?
Yeah.
So because of that,
Absolutely.
there's a lot of raw evidence, Sean, of me and Tommy or me and the Tommy of the other industries, right? Not because it's AI generated nonsense, but real, actual, you know what I'm saying? Okay.
Yeah.
Then if that gets ingested and pulled into ChatGPT and these other tools and with some smart VAs and some processes and whatever, that can turn into these sorts of, that's what the bros are. They're posting on Instagram or YouTube or, but if you have the raw proof that you actually are legit because of who you're with, because of what you've done, because you've actually achieved something that's valuable and you have the expertise and you can do it repeatably, built a
Absolutely.
SaaS thing, like whatever it is, right? For creators to manage sponsors, whatever it might be, right? Then what I'm famous for, which is this dollar a day, run ads against this thing and let the algorithm find other people just like the people you're hanging out with, drives good revenue because then your info products and whatever work because people respect all these other people, right? So if I take, Google automatically categorizes by who you're with and that facial recognition, location, all that stuff,
Yeah,
right?
that's pretty interesting. I know Apple does it too, but Apple's not nearly as good at
Well,
it.
for obvious reasons about privacy and this sort of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're almost like kids of mine in a weird way, but like Caleb started with me years ago and he was a nobody. And he now is probably the best known guy in financial services for selling like life insurance and whatnot. He's the keynote
Wow.
speaker at NAFA, which is the big organization they're all a part of, the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, oldest and largest. And he has a podcast where he's interviewed the who's who. The who's who come to his conference to speak. And, I put him on his very first stages ever.
It's mental. That's
And
cool. I like that.
so he like robbed the
Wow, yeah.
GoDaddies. He got to meet all these people and who are big in the world of the internet. This is Russell Brunson's mentor that got him started. So there's
My goodness.
all these things, and because of this, not because of me, but because he said, you know what? Just like our conversation, I'm going deep into selling whole life insurance, not just life insurance, but life insurance that you can use it as an investment vehicle. Then he wrote a book. He's been on all these podcasts. You Google him, you can see there's a full knowledge panel. He's interviewed
Wow.
the who's who.
That's,
He's a
yeah,
big
I
deal.
like that.
He actually, yeah, ask anyone who sells life insurance. Who's this Caleb Williams? Oh yeah, Caleb Williams and this and that, right?
Wow.
He's on all, like you name it. He's on all their podcasts, right?
That is amazing. That's, yeah, that's the type of
Because he
stuff
follows our
I admire.
model, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, he has 30,000 subs on. It's not about how many subs or followers or whatever he has. It's that he is talking with all these experts about. These are people who are authoritative, people who, this is my. I just saw he interviewed my buddy Eric Van Horn, who's the number one guy who advises franchise people.
Yeah.
And when I was on
Absolutely.
Eric's podcast, we got a bunch of business from people who have 100 locations or 20 locations or whatever because they believe in Eric Van Horn. And these people are calling me up. This one guy called me up a few weeks ago saying, "Hey, your podcast with Eric Van Horn was so good. I watched it 4 times and I gave it to our whole team. And then their
Oh my
people decided
God.
want to work together. And so then became a client. I'm flying out to meet them in Miami in a few days, right?
Yeah.
And then I see this guy, Eric Van Horn, who's a lighthouse, who, like a Tommy, a leader and respected in a category. Then I see that all of a sudden that Caleb interviewed this guy. And I'm thinking, wow, that is so smart.
Wow.
And then
Yeah.
Caleb's interviewing Garrett Gunderson. Holy crap. Multiple times New York legit bestseller, right? Not just some guy who says he's
Wow.
a bestseller. Like this guy's a big deal. Like, how is he spending all this time? And then anyway, you can just go through and see like who these people are, right?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
this is the guy Todd who he's the big mortgage calculator guy or financial service calculator guy. This is Richard Canfield.
Oh my gosh.
This is I mean
Wow. He's got a lot
in
of,
the world of like money and financial services and investing and like he's interviewed and he has a lot of videos.
yeah. Wow. Almost 1,000. Oh my gosh.
So Caleb meets the criteria of being a lighthouse, as in
That's
he
impressive. Yeah.
provides he's got a conference and a service and coaching and whatever for all these people. He's clearly associated with all these other people. He understands the topic himself. His product or service is making money, right?
Absolutely.
And I mean, so I love amplifying this. So what we've done with our VAs and a little bit of, I'm an engineer, so we pull some data, is grab these, so let's just say if I didn't know Caleb and he came to me, Sean, we came to
Yeah.
me and you and said, hey, I sell life insurance. I'm like, oh, great. You're like the millions of other people selling life insurance. But wait, no, I satisfy your criteria of a lighthouse because I'm doing all this stuff and it has inbound and people come to me. And the people who are the best known, they speak at my conference. I've been on their podcast. They've been on my podcast, all this. We could grow the life insurance policies that I'm selling and by amplifying the stuff that you teach, Dennis, through the content factory. So imagine, Sean, in an ideal world, this is not, I've done it manually with string and duct tape.
Of course, yeah.
That the system then, put in his name or whatever, put in his company name. System then grabs all of the videos and tweets and LinkedIn's and every kind of content showing authority.
Yeah.
The AI, ChatGPT, whatever, Gemini can sort of do it too. I don't know. I've been playing with the other ones to see like who can do it better, but
Yeah, that's fun.
organizes it according to the topics that he talks about. Not just like,
Absolutely.
oh, I do low code, no code, and I can grow this thing because I can, use these tools and I know AI and AI this and AI that, or I'm an entrepreneur, or I know digital marketing, or I've worked with influencers or, whatever, right? Like, okay, yeah, great. Everybody makes these claims. But
Yeah, that's true.
I have actual proof that I'm reputable in the world of education because our textbooks in
Interesting.
700 universities. And all these other people all the professors and whatever, these people that are respected, you can clearly see I hang out with these people.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching a next semester at Johns Hopkins University via Zoom.
Wow.
Instead of on
Okay.
campus, they said you could teach it via Zoom. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to fly to Baltimore every week, okay?
Yeah.
And then this guy Caleb, who's a big deal, he talks about life insurance and money and all that kind of stuff. But he also talks about all of that is tied to your why. Because, why are you, if you're a hedge fund guy, why are you doing all this? It's because of your legacy. It's because you want to give back. It's because your child has cancer. It's because, there's always people who have a lot of money, they always have some kind of deeper why, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Because at that point, it's not about the money, right? And so I have so much content. And then I could talk about social media or talk about whatever. And clearly, I'm linked to these other people. We've created a lot of content together. What if there was
Wow.
a tool? I don't believe it exists yet, but it's very easy. I have bits and pieces of it
Sure.
that, okay, I type in Caleb Williams or I type in Brendan King or I type in all the stuff with me and Brad Lee. I probably have 30 or 40 hours
Interesting.
of me and Brad Lee that was just recorded on these SD cards and nobody's ever seen. It's just hours and hours of footage, right? Hours and
Wow.
hours of footage, Sean, of stuff that's, look, I'll just as some random
Day
example,
to
okay?
day.
So Danny, I was his first podcast guest a couple years ago. I don't know if we told you. It was a disaster. I'll send you the Zoom if you want to see it. It was so bad, right?
Yeah.
And he said, and he'll admit this is true. Maybe we can laugh about it now, or maybe it's still too soon. But he said that dude, I'm a nobody. I shouldn't have a podcast. Why would anybody listen to me? I should actually pull out that quote when he said that, right?
Yeah.
And now I don't need to tell you like who he's interviewing and like all this stuff, okay?
Absolutely.
Like there's clear proof, like, maybe it's not me with the credit. I think I kind of influenced him into, you know what? You should document these stories. You should tell people what you've learned because that drives your business. You don't have to do this cold call outbound, automated DM. Oh, I have a machine that can send out thousands of these. Like, oh, you want to be known in pest control? Why don't you interview the number one guy who's trusted by the pest control companies, who's is the main guy for Bulwark and started with them as a family business like 17 years ago. And let's do a podcast with the guy. They don't know who you are, but they know who this guy is. And this guy in the world of pest control is most reputable. He's not a competitor, right? Let's get you
Absolutely. No, that
speaking
makes
on
sense.
stages all over the place, talking about local and pest control and all this, right? So you're not
Wow.
just some random guy. Why is this kid hitting me up on the Zoom? Like, oh wait, he's actually kind of a big deal, you know?
That makes perfect sense. And I think kind of working into that bigger business market, I'm going to be working with a lot of, older people anyways. And I think this kind of social proof, when they see who you're connected to with people that are established in their circle, I think
Yeah.
it's a big, driver in terms of not just like, because I have had moments where I hit someone up in the DMs and I've had a couple calls like that too, but they're pretty big deals in their respective field. And yeah,
Yeah.
when you get on the call, it's kind of like, what do you want from me? Like, why am I on this call with you? And I think it's just kind of that same scenario, like you said. It's not about the
But you have to
automated
practice what you
DMs.
preach. Yeah, Shad, you could
Absolutely.
do it for other people, but obviously people are going to Google you before they meet, right?
Yeah,
At least business
absolutely.
people are, because that's just like a polite thing to do. Like I Googled you before we met, right?
Same.
And I saw, well, it looks like you're LinkedIn. So where are you spending time? Like you said, LinkedIn and still Twitter as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And then there's like some other stuff. I don't know. Are you an actor?
Old. I dabbled in a little bit of acting. Helps with the content side of things. I don't do it anymore,
Okay.
but makes content super easy. So
All right. So I mean, I understand why people say stuff like this. I'm 21 and I make over $200,000 per year building AI systems.
yeah,
I'll just give you some free advice, take it or leave it.
sure.
But I would not say of the very first thing that people see about me, I
I'm
would not
21
tell
years.
21. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now
Yeah,
you're making it an issue of trust.
absolutely.
That's the thing you're leading with.
I'm young. Yeah, that doesn't
Why
help
don't you
very
say,
much.
I build a, and if it's all about you, well, I make over $200,000 per. Now you're talking. Okay, so maybe I have it wrong, and your stuff is all to compete with the other money bros on how much money you're making. The clients, do you think they give a shit about how much money you're making per year?
Yeah, most definitely not. No.
You could say I help pest control companies, be
Add
found on
over
Google
X
through these
amount.
AI things. Like, what's the result that you drive? Then it's like me. I'm 21 and I make over 200. Like, really?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, if I'm some random business owner that actually could benefit from your AI systems and low code, no code, and all this stuff, but then I see this and I see all the peacocking and flexing and whatever, I'm like, this kid is just a money bro. He's just trying to sell info products and stuff like that. I mean, he's not a serious business person. It's just him. And then I look him up and all I see is just him. It's him. It's
Absolutely.
all about him. Well, okay. How come I don't see if he's helped all these other people make all this money? Oh, it's about how much money he's making. It's not about the results that he's driving for other people. My stuff, if you look at my posts are all about other people. All I do is I talk about other people, right? I love talking about other people. Oh, look, the Better Business Bureau. They're talking about me, right? So I didn't say like I have
Interesting.
a webinar. I
Yeah.
said the Better Business Bureau wants this.
Yeah.
Now I'm honoring
Absolutely.
these other people. I'm constantly honoring other people, right? Teaching here. They're even the guy from the Better Business Bureau is saying this is one of the best webinars we've ever had.
Yeah.
I didn't say it.
They said
I'm
it
not saying about
themselves.
how much money I'm making. It's not me boasting. And the thing I posted yesterday, which I think is hilarious, which is perfect for you, I said I'm not an influencer, but I am
That is,
influential, right? Look, and then I highlight my buddy Anthony. Anthony's a client, of course. All these people are clients, right?
of course. Yeah.
He doesn't call himself an influencer, but he's grown his business. And now he's got a $6 million a year tree landscaping business. And then I wrote an
Wow.
article on the number one influence site, Influencive. This is where Grant Cardone and Dan Fleshman and all these guys are posting their stuff. Number one site
Interesting.
for influencers. It's a DR76, right? Look at this thing.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
DR76. So this is actual publication, not somebody's random blog.
Yeah.
And I go on and on about I'm not an influencer, even though I have blue check marks on all the stuff and I have, whatever. I have 1 million followers across all socials.
Yeah.
But it's not about me. And then I quote other people and what they have to say, right? And I'm quoting other people. I'm highlighting other people. Look at Anthony. Look at these other people. My whole brand is built, Sean, on what all these other people are saying about me. I never have to talk about myself.
Absolutely.
And
Makes
then
perfect
we're
sense.
gathering these mentions. So I think,
So when Google's you, it's showing all the other stuff that people are saying rather than just your posts, pulling up all the
yeah,
podcasts that you've been on and everything like that, and posts that people have made about you rather than just like, okay, this is my post, this is my post, this is my post, this
it's
is my post. It's like,
reputation.
yeah,
It's not how many
absolutely.
followers I have or any of this kind of nonsense. So
I gotcha.
there are six, how do I say, Alcadiz?
Akyildiz. I kind of tell
Alcadiz.
people it's a little cringe, but I say it's like a rapper, like Akyildiz is usually,
Akyildiz. Yeah,
yeah,
man, I
exactly.
kill you. Okay.
Exactly.
So I'm a search engine engineer.
Sure.
Built the analytics at a search engine almost 30 years ago.
That's insane. Yeah.
So people don't know that. I don't care. So you
No, that's cool though.
you actually have a knowledge panel,
Interesting. Gotcha.
but it's not claimed.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when we
Wow.
Google you, we
This
get
comes up
your
with all this stuff.
LinkedIn, your Twitter. There's no website. There's no proof that you're any good at what you do. I'm not saying you're not good at what you do. I'm just saying this is how Google sees you.
Nah, and that's how other people see me when they Google me. So you're not offending anybody.
All right. So then if you Google me, so why don't you share your screen?
Sure.
Then I'm going to show you
I already
something.
had you
I'm going to add
Google me.
value for you, okay?
I mean, you've already given me quite a bit of value as is, but I do appreciate it. Let me get it pulled up here. Okay. Let me share my
Yeah, so
screen
share your
here with
screen.
you. Yeah, immediately. Thanks right here.
That's a knowledge panel,
Author
right?
right there. That's cool. That's
And
pretty
then look on
sick.
the bottom right, you see people also look at Mari Smith and Neil Patel, all these other
Uh,
people. So what do you think happens, Sean, when people are looking at Neil Patel's thing? It
Interesting.
shows
Probably.
me, right?
Yeah,
People also
absolutely.
look for these other people or whoever, right? And so if you do searches on topics related to social media marketing or digital marketing, whatever, you're going to see my stuff pop up
Interesting. And I
because
feel
it's
like
all
having,
part of the Google Knowledge Graph. So the Knowledge Graph is the connection between different people and topics and companies and all that, right?
wow, I feel like
So
having the knowledge panel even itself adds quite a bit of social proof, like not social
I
proof,
think
but
the okay, so
credibility.
so go to the link that I put in the Zoom chat,
Sure. Let me open it up.
and I built a little
Here.
tool. which you could build as well. Like, and all the tools I built, I've open sourced whatever the code, anyone can use them. So we're querying Google's Knowledge Graph API. Okay. But if you don't know how to build stuff with APIs, you can just use our tool. So type your name in there.
I haven't used their knowledge graph API. I do know how to use APIs, but I haven't used this one before at
They're all the
all.
same. Okay. So, so click the C on Google, the blue link. There's your ID, right? You can see there's IDs. There's 6 objects, right?
Yeah.
Okay, click on that.
Interesting.
Yeah, click on the triple dots and then click on claim
Claim.
this knowledge panel. And then it sends you to a Google verified thing. So what I have taught
Interesting.
thousands of times, but young adults still don't understand, is that getting verified on Google is worth more than being verified on Instagram and all those other places.
Wow, that is insane.
And then you want to follow the steps correctly. Now, that third box was tell us why you're claiming this knowledge panel. This is
Yeah,
where people goof it up. Because what people do is they say, "Oh, because I want to have a knowledge panel." That okay, and they get
all right,
rejected, right? They get a note
absolutely.
back saying, "Oh, thank you for applying." No.
Yeah,
So if we understand what the knowledge graph is, which is the interconnection of all the different objects showing that you are who you say you are to increase your confidence score, that legitimately these are factual things, right? So if you say, I make this much, or I have this client, or I have this company, and I'm the number one in this and that, or I'm the best at this or that, like that's not a factual thing that they can verify, so they will reject that. So
has
open
to be
another tab
factual.
and do a search on knowledge panel blitz metrics and click on that one. See, I'm making
Interesting.
everything Googleable. We practice what we preach, don't we? But
Yeah,
you
very
can see we
interesting.
show how to use a tool and then scroll down and it says, all right, here's how you fill out the thing properly so you don't get rejected, right?
Oh,
Here's what a knowledge panel is, and here's what. So basically, you need to say, I'm Sean
interesting.
Akyildiz, and I have this company covenant, but I also have done this for these people. I've spoken at this conference. I have the. You have to address the other objects that are authoritative.
Yeah,
And then you say,
absolutely.
and because I build bespoke AI things and a SaaS and whatnot, it's important for me to have my knowledge panels so that people in this category and related to these other people can clearly understand who I am.
Yeah,
And then when you have a
absolutely.
personal brand website that ties it all together, which we're, I think, selling now at $20 a month, whatever, to
Yeah,
help people get this, then it ties it all together, increases your trust because Google's confused about who you are. Because Google's clearly confused because your LinkedIn and your Twitter are one and two.
yeah, yeah. That's
And then we
that's
cover all
definitely
the
not there.
issues of you can see here, like if you have two of them, so you have multiple of them.
Yeah,
If someone else has the same name, or or you have it has the wrong picture, or other people's stuff is mixed in with yours, like we cover all how to handle the various issues, right?
wow.
So here I am. You didn't have to sign up for anything. You didn't have to put in your email address. Like I'm literally here. It is. I've done
Yeah,
it thousands of times, and a lot of big name people are doing it using my tips. And they even said, "Yeah, thanks to Dennis."
yeah.
They're
This
all
is
saying like, yeah,
incredibly
Dennis,
valuable.
Dennis helped me with my knowledge panel. Now when people search my name, this whole thing shows up, right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely, absolutely.
And then you could follow this, and a lot of people, Sean, are going through this, and they don't even tell me. I'll just meet them at a conference. They're like, oh man, that article you wrote 10 years ago about this or that, dude. I mean, I know you don't know me or whatever, but I just wanted to come up and say thank you.
That's cool.
And
That
so
feels
I have
good.
hundreds of these that literally show this is how I've done something. And
Yeah,
then the people who do have the money, because you always want to solve problems for wealthy people, right? That's the
yeah,
way to do it. Solve the problem,
absolutely.
but for wealthy people. And
Yeah,
the people who are not wealthy, just show them how to do it. Like here it is, right? If you don't have the money, like here, do this. But if you want to pay, well, we can actually do it for you.
yeah,
Right?
absolutely. That makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Yeah. But all the money bros out there, we're not going to try to take their money. Are you kidding? No, here it is.
Yeah,
If you're
no,
a hedge fund manager, okay, yeah, we'll do it for you.
yeah, it makes perfect sense. This is incredibly valuable. I appreciate this, and I feel bad because I feel like I didn't necessarily hop on here and feel like I hopped on here and picked your brain a little bit, and I don't like to do that just because
Like if
I
you ask like, oh, what do you do and whatever, it feels like a sales call, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Because then
Absolutely.
did you do the prep? Like I did the prep on you before we met.
I did a Google search on you and I looked at a few things, but not like super duper in depth. I knew you did a lot with SEO and like Google, but that was really most of what I found. I didn't do too much in depth, no.
Well, just imagine
So
that now that you let's say you know how to do this, let's say you know how to use, pull data from different APIs. That APIs are about moving data from one place to another, right?
of course, yeah.
Okay. Well, for your buddy Danny, who has changed the name of his podcast, but it's still on YouTube, why don't you use your tool to pull all the videos where Danny's ever interviewed other people or they've interviewed him and put it on his personal brand website using the AI to take the transcripts
Or
off.
something. Yeah, I
Not even
actually
RSS, which kind of died. Other ways, right?
it's funny you mentioned that because I actually one thing I try to do, I've been doing something called like Dream 100 outreach or whatever it's called, and it's not
Mm,
about like copy pasting the same message to somebody. Usually
right,
what I'll do is kind of a full audit on their social media profile. And if they've
right.
got, if they're like posting a lot on YouTube, for example, I'll typically build them out a tool that they can just paste in the link to their YouTube video, pulls the transcript, and then
Yeah,
from there, I will usually scrape like 20 or so tweets that they've posted. Usually they're active on both platforms
yeah.
and fine tune an AI model. So they paste in that YouTube link, submit the form through Airtable, and it'll pull that transcript from that video, use OpenAI to extract like 10 key moments from the video or
Yeah.
whatever, and then create tweets for them in their voice and send it to their email.
Yeah,
Like
more
a super
personalized
basic tool.
outreach where you deliver value, but that's still cold outreach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cold is
That
when you
makes
have
sense.
no warm coming in. But if you already are well known and all these people are coming to us, and you could use the exact same thing where you're like pulling in their tweets and customizing stuff, like why not just do it for people that already trust you versus doing all this cold Dream 100 stuff?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely.
Chet Holmes is the one who came up with Dream 100.
Yeah.
We were friends before he died. I'm friends with his daughter, Amanda, and I've got tons and tons of videos and pictures and whatever hanging out and speaking out, speaking with her at all these other places. Like that's the Dream 100. That's where
Yeah.
the Dream 100 thing came from. It's way more authoritative to be friends with the people that teach the things than like use someone else's thing, but no, don't know who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes perfect sense.
Do it for any of your existing clients or friends or
Yeah.
other broke money bros that are trying to become more. Look,
Yeah.
all the broke money bros on Twitter, I make 100,000 a month or whatever. Okay. Well, why don't you shift it into actually value, actually teaching what you're doing? Like this. How many of the
Yeah.
money bros are actually writing articles or having video? You could Google me and see, you can go for days on how many videos on how to do this and how to do that, right?
Yeah,
Great. You have an
absolutely.
audit tool. Great. Post it. Show the audit tool. Show what the audit, publish the audits.
Yeah,
Like just type in
that's
Dennis View audit. You'll see how many there's like 1,000 audits that pop up.
absolutely. This is eye-opening, honestly. Wow.
And everything is better when you have authority, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that
You don't
makes
have to
perfect
convince anyone.
sense.
Like I'm the surgeon operating the emergency room. I don't have to convince anyone. There's no salespeople in the emergency room. You know what I mean, Sean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting you say that as well, because even with like some of my tweets, I schedule them in, and I'm like, I'm preaching a lot of things, but I like sometimes it just feels a little fluffy. So I'm like,
But if you're preaching without cred, it doesn't matter.
yeah, exactly,
Might as well hold up a
exactly.
cardboard sign at the intersection.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah, no, absolutely, that makes sense. That's
No,
perfect.
I think you have the talent. I think you've worked hard. I think you're a great copywriter. I've heard things from Danny. I think you have all these things. My view as an outsider is you have you've been so engulfed in the money bro, sales bro, cold outreach, whatever. Because that whole crowd is sort of, I don't need to tell you about that crowd, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm
That
very familiar with that crowd.
so they think such a way in such a way that they're so obsessed with trying to, I don't know, front in the high school cafeteria in front of the other kids. That's what it feels like to me.
I I don't mean to interrupt you or talk over you, but I have been feeling that way for the longest time. Like it feels like I've never been one to lie about how much money I make, and I try not to use it like you saw in that post, but I also do understand where you're coming from with like sometimes I feel like it's just like high school all over again. It feels very clicky. Like, okay, these are like the cool kids or like
Exactly.
that. Yeah, very
John, do you
much
ever
like
hear
that.
me say how much money I make?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I probably make more money than Danny,
Yeah,
but I never say that because that would be.
absolutely. I
I'm
agree.
probably wearing $20 worth of clothing on me right now.
Absolutely.
You ever see me with Lamborghinis? Okay, fine. I have a couple like private jet, whatever sorts of things, just for fun. But they're not mine. Those are my friends' private jets, and when I'm flying on their thing, and they invited me. But I don't do any of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think I have something that's way better than a rented Lamborghini.
Connections.
Yeah, connections. But then if you Google me, you see all this stuff. That's worth way
Yeah,
more than the fake Rolex.
yeah, I agree. I don't even want the Rolex to be honest. Yeah, that ship has long
But
since
but
sailed.
are you putting stuff online to try to like front with the other money bros? Or are you doing stuff because you actually want to help a certain category of business and drive a real result and actually teach and, do good?
Being fully honest, I did at one point. I cared a lot about it, and there's always been a part of me that it feels very inadequate as to, like you get on social media and you see a lot of people fronting or boasting about that specific
Yeah.
type of thing. But as of this past year, and that's the exact reason I didn't do the info product stuff and I left those previous business partners, is just because it felt very I have buddies who, make 150,000, $200,000 a month, but they run a Discord where they teach people like the
Yeah, they
dumbest
teach people how to make
shit.
money online. It's a
Yeah,
circular, it's a Ponzi, really.
it
Danny,
is.
even when he was in his low point after going to Mexico and running out of money, that he signed up for one of those info products that claimed that they were going to close, we pay only, it's like Charlie Morgan or one of them, or you remember that?
Charlie Morgan. Yeah, I think I do roughly remember that. I get Charlie Morgan's ads all the
So I
time.
sent so Danny had already paid in all this money because you understand how the young bros that are feeling inadequate or whatever, like you mentioned, and they want to drive sales, and then someone makes this info product promise that sounds too good to be true, so they sign up thinking, oh, guaranteed they're going to close all the deals for me and they're going to service all the clients for me. I don't have to do anything. Okay, well, why would they work with you if they're closing all the clients and they're doing all the work? Just think
Yeah,
for a
that's
moment with common sense, right? But he said,
yeah,
yeah, but the thing said that I don't, it's pay upon results because that's what Charlie Morgan says, right?
it is.
So he
Yeah.
paid all this money, and of course, you know what happens there. It's an info product. They give you access to a course. Meanwhile, they're billing you for as much money as they can. They keep credit card maxes out so that they keep trying to hit your credit card, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then I told Danny, okay, you just fell for the most common scam for young adult bros on the internet, right? The whole, oh, you can make $10,000 a month or different variations of this. You know probably better than me, right?
Yeah.
I'm not
Very
pointing out
familiar with
Charlie
that.
Morgan. I'm just saying there's a lot of them that are like that, right? I'm not going to name
So
them all
many.
because there's so many of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I said to Danny, I can get you your money back. That's a lot of money. And last I checked, I mean, maybe you have a ton of money and maybe I'm just wrong, but if I understand correctly, you are broke. No offense.
Yeah.
You are living at home. Mom cooks the food. It's fine. But getting back that money would make a difference in your life. And they made a promise as we go to the landing page where it says, you pay upon results, as in like they drive the result and then you pay. Like, oh yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, you don't pay up front. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a little misleading. So what if, said no, but I had to sign this whole contract saying that on the fine print said if I didn't show up to all the meetings or like blah 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 blah, then I can't get the money back. And plus, I'm already like committed to, and I still have another. Now that I still have to pay another $6,000,
Oh
and I
my
didn't have the cash.
gosh.
They said,
My
"Well,
goodness.
fine, we can do a payment plan of $1,000 a month for the next 6 months." I said, "Now you're a money slave to this guy who's
Oh
selling
gosh.
basically access to like pre-recorded crappy YouTubes. You signed up for the
Yeah.
info product scam, okay? And I'll
Oh
tell
my
you what, I'll get
goodness.
the money back for you. Promise." Well, how can No, I don't think it'll work because he's a big deal and I'm a nobody and I already signed the contract. I said, Danny, I will get the money back for you. You don't worry about how the money comes back. You don't worry about anything. All you do is you give me permission to send a note to Charlie Morgan saying, Charlie, you know who I am.
Yeah.
I'm asking you kindly once, give Danny's money back.
That's
Just give me permission. That's it. You tell me yes.
absolutely.
Okay. What do you think happened?
Definitely gave the money back, hopefully.
Yeah. And he was
Yeah.
so surprised. Dude, I got the money back and all. Like, didn't I tell you that's what would happen?
Yeah.
Why do you
That's
think Charlie Morgan gave the money back?
probably because of your social proof and your connections, and he's definitely not trying to burn any of those bridges. I feel
Does he
like
really want to mess with me to scam another kid out of
one
10 grand or
customer.
whatever?
Yeah,
Is he
definitely
will
not.
is Charlie Morgan, or I'm not picking on Charlie Morgan, but is
Of
whoever,
course.
are they willing to and let's say they're a big deal, but are they really willing to go toe to toe with me on
Yeah,
that?
probably definitely
Just
not.
refund
No.
them. Just refund the money. Yep. Oh, Dennis is not happy. Oh,
It's
refund the money.
yeah.
Refund the money. Right?
Just
That's what
one
happens.
customer. Just
And
give
I've
the
done
money
this
back.
hundreds of times.
Yeah.
Whenever someone's in trouble, I had a friend who, and I've told these stories publicly. His mom had cancer and was going through chemo, and her hot water or whatever broke, and Sears was supposed to fix it, and they didn't. And then she's cold and doing chemo treatments, and she can't take a hot bath, and she's old. And she tried to write a letter, and she's old. So she wrote this letter into the CEO of Sears to, please have someone come fix the thing.
Oh
I
my
already paid them
goodness.
$40,000 to fix my bathroom and all this, and they didn't do it. And so I wrote an article saying, Sears, you need to fix this issue for Brian Eisenberg's mom.
Yeah.
And then I ran Dollar a Day against it, which I'm famous for. And I targeted the executives that work in Sears headquarters in Chicago.
That's so smart.
And
Yeah.
they fixed it. They fixed it, refunded her. I saw Sears because I speak at conferences all the time, right? And I saw Sears was on stage, like their head of marketing, whatever, was on stage after me. And I went up to them afterwards and said, "Hey, I'm Dennis Yu. Have you heard of me by chance?" And they said, "Oh, yeah, we know about you. We call this the Dennis Yu problem. And we had to change our whole customer service policy because of you."
That's good. That's awesome. That's a good.
And I'm not even like, who's a bigger deal, Sean, me or Sears?
Definitely, yeah. I
But I
understand.
took a story that was factually true and I didn't target the internet. I probably only got a couple thousand views on the post,
Targeted their
but I targeted on
executives.
LinkedIn, I targeted on Facebook, and I targeted on Twitter. People who work at Sears in headquarters, in marketing. I targeted CEO. I targeted everyone VP and above. You spent a few dollars and they saw it. I'm sure every time these Sears executives were logging in, they're like, "Oh, this Dennis Yu guy, like, what is going on?" They must be spending $1 million on these ads because that's all I
Oh,
see. I'm at home at the soccer game or whatever it is, and I pull up. I'm sitting on the couch watching TV, and I see popping up everywhere because I'm micro targeting, right?
yeah, absolutely.
So it's kind of like my equivalent of what you have been doing with this cold DM outreach thing,
Yeah, but yeah, that
but
makes
I'm doing
sense.
it
They
for
come to
good.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it works. I can tell you story after story after story about how it works, and people are in disbelief. Ask Danny if this is true. Text him, ask him, is this true what Dennis said?
Yeah, I will. 100%. It's
But
awesome.
everything we've been talking about, Sean, is one thing the whole time.
Yeah, building credibility online.
Isn't that
Absolutely.
ultimately what you're doing for your clients? Regardless of whether it's SaaS and low code or what, I mean, isn't that ultimately what it all is? Isn't that
Yeah,
what
that's what it
SEO
comes down
is?
to. Yeah.
Isn't that like this knowledge panel? Isn't that the same thing? Aren't these all just different angles on the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're not selling it as this fluffy, oh, you can become famous and have 100,000 followers. And you're not selling the social media vanity. You're selling, hey, if you have a good reputation, I'll build that more. I'll reflect
Yeah.
that back in the digital. So whatever you do as a business, with existing customers, then the algorithms on TikTok and LinkedIn and YouTube will show it to more people that are like your existing customers with the proof that you have. If you have proof, you have a good company, you have a repeatable result, there's clear proof, there's happy customers, then I can grow that business.
Absolutely.
And I've done it for 30 something years. I think you should do it for yourself. You should do it for
Yeah,
your clients
I agree. This is a very good wake-up call.
and escape the money bro high school cafeteria thing.
Yeah, I'm on my way out of that anyways. I'm tired of the hamster wheel with it.
You can quiet ascension your day all as much as you like. And like, are you really trying, like, do you really care about the opinion of those other 21-year-olds?
At times I did. At times I did. They're like
Because all they
it's
talk about
honestly
is how much money so and so did. It's freaking gossip. Oh, so and so is doing 400,000 a month. Really?
yeah.
You should
It's
write a blog
it's
post. You should take this is a Zoom call. We all Zoom calls are recorded. At least ours are. And you could turn it into a why I left the money bro game or something like that, which is another way of saying I'm all about helping people, not about posing about me and how I make 200,000 and my Rolex and like, come on.
yeah.
And
This is
that's
a
why I
good
like
time for
Danny
this
because Danny's
call.
not like that. And maybe Danny initially was because he was a great copywriter and he got more famous and more followers on Twitter because he talked about those sorts of things. But get out of that vicious circle.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't like to flex, but I think this call comes at a good time anyway because it's been something I've been struggling with anyways. So like not just the posting about it because I personally don't prefer to do that, but
Yeah.
just like comparing myself to other people. It's like you're just constantly getting hit with revenue numbers and it's like, ah man, I'm such
It's
a
never any good.
idiot.
There's not,
Like,
ask anyone really successful. They'll tell you never compare.
yeah, absolutely. Just keep doing the thing.
Yeah.
Provide value. Absolutely. I'll stop sharing my screen. I don't want to keep you too long. This was incredibly insightful, and I do appreciate you taking the time. I know we haven't spoken before, so I know there wasn't really an agenda laid out for this call, so
You
appreciate
reach
you
out to
taking the
me.
time.
I didn't reach out to you.
I know, but I still appreciate you taking the time to sit down because I know you're probably busy, so
Oh, we all
it
have
means a
stuff
lot.
going on. I'm pretending like I'm not busy, but there's obviously a ton of stuff
I'm
going on.
sure you're getting messages like, hey, and you got places
I
to
didn't pull
be.
out my
So
phone, right? I mean, I'm tempted to want to look at all the things that are popping up, but I'm not. I'm spending time. I'm
absolutely.
focusing 100% on you.
Likewise. Yeah, I appreciate that. It means a lot. Is there anything I can do to, like give back
Yeah.
any value or anything like that?
Yeah. Make a 1 minute video right now, raw, about some of the things that you've learned and post
I
that
got you.
on whatever you want to post it on. Don't
Absolutely.
even think about it. Just, I'm
Start
all about
recording.
making 1 minute videos, as you probably have seen.
Yeah, I like that.
And then I'll honor you. Or if you want,
Absolutely.
when the Zoom call ends, Zoom sends the recording thing. I'll send that to you, turn that to an article, and you can publish that as a guest post on any of my sites. I have blitzmetrics.com, which is, I think, like a DR62.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
you could write an article honoring Danny, right? That's good.
Yeah,
That
that's
creates
true
good
too.
things. And like you could even take like this Zoom call. I think I talked enough about Danny. You probably have enough using AI tools and whatnot to turn that into like a meaty article, right?
Yeah,
About how Danny Lee
absolutely.
Brandt went from a nobody to a big deal. That's a worthwhile article. If I was a young bro, I'd want to know, really? How do you do that? And then it actually shows the proof
Yeah,
of real authentic experience. Google EAT, EEAT, right? Real experience, which AI doesn't do. AI doesn't have experience. We have experience.
yeah,
Experience,
absolutely.
expertise, authority, trust, right? I literally walked you through. I showed you, like I logged into my photos and I showed, like there's proof of it. It's not an opinion, it's proof.
Yeah,
The real
absolutely.
example, right? I'll
If
even
you
find
could
that
send me
clip where
this,
Daddy says, "Oh, I'm a nobody." You could
yeah,
play that.
that'd be sick. I'll get his permission, make sure I can use that or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you could send me this call transcript, that'd be awesome. I don't
Yeah.
think I'm recording personally, but I would love to use it in
Well, I think I
something.
made a post recently about, hey, here's all the settings we have in our Zoom account. And one of them is the thing for like automatically record
Recording.
because then we can send it to everyone saying like, hey, here's if you want to go back to this one thing we talked about, here it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that. I appreciate that. That'd be sick.
All right, cool. Well, you'll have that in a few minutes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time again. I appreciate you.
Then make your 1 minute video right now. Don't like, wait till next week. Like literally it's on the spot, make a 1 minute video, post it on LinkedIn, right?
I got you.
And
Absolutely.
and that
Got the
that's
ring
how
light
you
right
pay me
there.
back, right? And the more people we have that are paying it forward and teaching, it doesn't have to be all professionally done. I mean, it's however you want to do it, right? Be authentic. And then
I
hit me up
appreciate
if
that.
anything I can do for you.
Likewise. Likewise. If there's
Awesome.
anything I could do, I don't know, how much I can do, but if there is
Here's
anything
something we could do because you built the thing you built that does like the personalized cold outreach and sort of personal, like analyzes their stuff and
yeah,
writes stuff. Why don't we repurpose parts of that to help organize personal brands for clients and then we could rev share?
yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% open.
Okay.
It's pretty easy for me
All
to
right,
build.
good.
So
Let's coordinate on that. I have to go run to this other thing,
I got you.
but
Record that video right now.
yeah, let's do that. Let's do one thing at a time. Then text me, and then we'll just do one step at a time.
Okay.
I
Sounds
think
good to
there's a
me.
lot of cool stuff we could do together, but I don't want to like open up 20 things and end up doing
I
nothing,
got
right?
you.
One
I
thing
got
at a
you.
time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Sounds good,
Awesome,
man.
Sean.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll see you, my friend.